How do you actually overcome your negative thoughts? Well, first of all, we need to know that your negative thoughts, they just want you to be lazy. They want you to be sick, tired, weak, and helpless, right? If you let them. They're ruled at the core by fear, which is always driving you to feel insecure and inadequate about yourself. But here's a little secret, right? Fear is like the Wizard of Oz. It's all great and powerful, but it's just smoke and mirrors when you realize there's a weakling behind it pulling the levers. So today I'm going to talk about some different perspectives and different ways of looking at those negative thoughts that can help you kind of pry away the grip that fear has over them. So I'm going to give you 4 things. First thing is call them out by their name. Like when you start naming a thought, you take away part of its power because you're not your thoughts. You're the observer and the chooser and the experiencer. What do you mean? What does that mean? Experiencer, observer. Well, if you don't learn to observe and choose what you do with your thoughts will continue trying to convince you that they are you. But they're just too unpredictable and changeable to actually reflect who we are. Don't believe me? So try this. Think about when you were 8 years old, right? What kind of things did you think about? Were your thoughts different than they are today? I hope so. What about the people around you? Were they different? Or at least did they look different? How about your surroundings? Were they different? What about your physical body? Was it different than it is today? Yeah. Yes. Your physical body, even that was completely changed. Every cell in your body has been replaced since then. You're literally not the same person. I think like the bone cells or something take about 7 years to recycle. Skin cells are like a couple of weeks or so. But, the people around you were different. The thoughts were different. Your body was different. Your environment was different. But you were still you? Yeah, of course you were. But how do you know? Because you observed and experienced you. Boom. So stay with me on this, right? We're going to go into number 2. So imagine your thoughts are like the end caps of shoelaces, right? So end caps, the unsung heroes of shoelaces, these little small protectors keep the chaos of shoelace fray at bay. We need mental end caps because, let's face it, negative thoughts are really quite stubborn. They stick around, right? There's this book by Ethan Kross called Chatter, right? And they conducted a study in that book that was conducted in New York Central Park and involved a research method called experience sampling. And the study aimed to kind of figure out like the impact of negative thoughts and self-talk on people's well-being and mental health. And the study involved participants carrying around devices that prompted them at various times throughout the day. Like a little microphone recorder, and they would kind of be carrying that around. And they were asked to report on their current thoughts, their emotions, and like what activities they had going on. And the participants were asked to describe where they were and what they were doing and rate their current mood. So the key finding of the study was related to the content of the participants' thoughts. The study found that when individuals' minds wandered, their thoughts turned negative. It had a significant impact on their reported happiness and well-being. So in particular, when their thoughts became like self-critical or negative, it correlated with lower levels of happiness and life satisfaction. So their dopamine, their serotonin levels just plummeted. So the Central Park study serves as like a good example of how like everyday thoughts and self-talk can influence our emotional well-being and overall satisfaction. But when they put an end cap on those negative thoughts stopped. Negative thoughts are like unwanted guests at a party. They arrive uninvited, but they linger even after the event's over. But positive thoughts, however, they often exit quietly just as we start enjoying their company. So why the asymmetry here? Let's dig into this. Let's figure this out. I think it starts from back in like the caveman era, like a negative thought was like a survival instinct. So imagine that you're a caveman or cavewoman and you spot a saber-toothed tiger in the shadows. Your brain would send out alarms, your survival depended upon analyzing every angle of that potential threat. Is it hungry? Is it stalking me? Is it big? How far is it? Where's my exit? Do I have any weapons? Sticky negativity could have saved your life. But fast forward to now, no more lurking tigers, but our brains still do, their ancient dance. Our body reacts similarly to a modern stressor like the anxiety of a presentation as it would a prehistoric predator. Our brain doesn't know the difference. You know, it's like dialing 911 for a paper cut. A major response for a minor issue. So this point reminds me of one of Mark Twain's hallmark quotes, or you could call it a joke, but it goes something like this. Like, I've suffered a lot of things in my life, some of which actually happened. You know, our minds often wage bigger battles than reality demands. Suffering in this case is the mind's twist on pain, not its literal twin, as Lord Byron so proposed. You know, he said happiness was born a twin. So what's the fix here? Well, number 3 is we need to recognize the negative loop. Simple, right? Well, in today's complex world, simplicity is one of the hardest things. But with this technique, you have the key that most mental health issues need. Simply start to notice the moment you begin to feel discomfort. You know, this can be any form of discomfort. You know, a feeling, a thought, you're hungry, angry, lonely, tired, you know, hot, cold, you know, any of those, you know. And so when you gain the ability to notice the moment that you're uncomfortable, you've literally almost won. Rollo May, the famous psychologist, once said in his book, Freedom and Destiny, that in between the stimulus and the response, there's a little space in there. And in that space is our power to choose. You know, think of it like a traffic light, right? If you're going steady and you ignore the yellow light and you keep going until it's too late, it turns red and you get yourself into quick trouble. So we need to do things, intervene before the light turns red. You know, in the same way, we need to notice when our yellow light has flickered on in our bodies. You know, a warning light on your car's dash, you know, there's a reason for that. It tells you that you need to service your vehicle. So we need to service ourselves. So here's the good trick I often use to create that space. It's from the Dialectical Behavioral Therapy Workbook by McKay, Wood, and Brantley. And I can put this in the description so you have it. But when you get a negative thought or an experience or sensation of discomfort, think of the word rest. So R means relax. Take some breaths, create some space from what just happened. You know, E, evaluate. Am I in any danger? Is anyone else in any danger? Just do a quick assessment of the situation. You don't need to figure it all out right then. And then S, we're going to set an intention, like use a technique. You know, do I need to take a walk? You know, do I need to breathe? You know, do I need to take my dog for a walk before I return to the thought or the situation? And then T, take action. And then number 4, talk back to the thoughts. Talk back to those thoughts, right? Apply a positive end cap to them and watch them fade. But it's not just it's how you talk to yourself. I like transactional analysis for this. That's a psychological theory, and it talks about the way we talk about ourselves. We have 3 ego states. We've got the child, the parent, and the adult. So our inner child ego may start to cause us to worry and doubt, becoming fearful and self-defeating, you know, fearing the unknown like a trepidatious child. Or a parent. Imagine talking to yourself as if you were a nurturing parent figure, providing guidance and reassurance. You know, you've got this, you got this, you can do it. You know, offering like a virtual pat on the back. But beware, the parent mode can also be overly critical. You know, that inner nag that chips away. You should have done this right, you know. But then there's the adult mode, right? Always composed, experienced, assertive, and in control of the situation. You know, picture meeting a friend who keeps their cool when life tosses them curveballs. You know, the inner Yoda, you know, being calm, a wise fact checker. You know, identify with your inner adult ego. The inner adult ego has no problem talking back to negative thoughts. You know, it knows it's not the thoughts. So, you know, remember, thoughts are they're like the wind, right? No one knows where they're coming from or where they're going, you know, but we can recognize their effects, especially on our behavior if we let it. So we need to be careful of how we respond to those effects, you know, and not let them take over. Besides fear, the driver of all this, as Stephen Pressfield puts it, is a river a mile wide and an inch deep. Doesn't want you to know you can cross. So as you navigate life's roads, remember that thoughts are tricky, but the wheel to steering them, it's within your reach. You know, if you can just push through the illusion that you are your thoughts. You know, embrace those end caps. Life's too short for an endless tango between self-doubt and fear. Wayne Dyer once said, the only limits you have are the limits you believe. So here's a parting thought. Believe in transforming your thoughts. You know, you're the author, so write your script. Get those end caps. Thoughts as a guide, a world to conquer. Hope this helps. Hello, everyone. If you liked this video and you found it helpful, please support my channel and click like and subscribe. You can also go to my website at yourkindofhappy.org, where there's other free self-help blogs, videos, and a podcast available for free. Thank you for listening.